Thank the gentleman from Virginia, Mr. Walkinshaw. I now recognize the gentleman from Arizona, Mr. Crane.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to say thank you to the panelists for coming. Today in the Homeland Security Committee, we are talking about undersea cables. This isn't a topic that gets thrown around at a lot of dinner tables here in America. And it is actually a very important topic because, as you gentlemen have described in your opening statements, what the vast majority of the data that we send across the world goes through these undersea cables. Is that correct? And satellites can't quite handle the load. Is that correct? If these undersea cables are sabotaged or damaged, right? Now, when I was doing a little research, and maybe you guys can correct me, but while I was doing some research, the research that I did showed that most of these undersea cables, when they're sabotaged or intentionally damaged, are done in shallow water, about 200 feet of water or less. Is that correct? So there are things that we can be doing to make sure that we're protecting this critical infrastructure. Mr. Crane, can you go into some of the things that we can be doing to protect this critical infrastructure?
Yes, and I think we can learn some lessons from how our allies and partners are dealing with this. So we have seen that NATO set up this new Baltic Sentry mission with aircraft, ships patrolling these areas using unmanned systems as well. We have seen a decrease in these incidents since they've started that. So, you never know, is Russia deterred or did they just decide not to attack? But there is a pattern there. Similarly, Taiwan has stepped up its patrols using the Coast Guards in some of these incidents. It seems that maybe the incidents are decreasing. And so I think for the United States, the Coast Guard has a role to play here, and obviously within Department of Homeland Security. So having the Coast Guard do more patrols near vulnerable areas, and my colleagues can speak to this, but there are some areas, Oregon, New Jersey, New York, where there is a concentration where they could focus their efforts.
Outside of just increasing patrols, though, Mr. Strong, is there a way to harden these cables and bury them deeper, which make them harder to access?
Yes, there is. The industry has undertaken that over the last several years. The standard had been burying at 3 meters, around 10 feet, and now it's going down to 9 meters, I believe, or at least it's tripled. And as the effect of that has been that over time, the number of faults over the last 2 years has remained constant or actually slightly gone down. And this is at a time when the industry has actually put in 50% more miles of cable in the water. So essentially what we've seen is a big success. The number of incidents per cable mile has greatly decreased.
Can you tell the American people who, like I said, probably don't talk about this over the dinner table, how many cables are we talking about here?
There are almost 600 in the world right now. About 100 connect to the United States. Another 34 are connecting to the United States in the next 2 to 3 years.
Thank you. How long does it take to repair one of these cables that gets damaged, and how much does it cost?
Well, once you're at station, it takes 1 to 2 days to actually repair the actual cable. The problem is getting the permits, if you can believe it or not. That is the number.
You have to get a permit to repair one of these cables?
Not if it's at high seas, but if it's in territorial waters, you sure do. And sometimes it can be duplicative permits. One of the worst areas of the world right now, if you have a cable break, is Indonesia. And that's because they have cabotage restrictions. They essentially require that their vessel be Indonesian flagged or crewed, or perhaps both. I can't recall. It can take months to get that permit. And I would caution the United States government not to adopt similar laws, because right now you never hear about American cables breaking. They actually do break all the time. It's just because we have so much resilience and we're able to repair effectively and quickly. That's why you never hear about it. But if it started taking months, it would be a problem.
Do you think it's safe to say for our foreign adversaries that might be listening to this hearing today that it is considered a deterrent, that we can play the same games?
I don't know if I have enough information to speculate on that, but what I can say is that redundancy forms its own deterrence. If you really wanted to attack 97 cables simultaneously, it would be require phenomenal effort, and I'm not sure it's really worth that effort.
Thank you. I yield back.